Good morning, everybody. This is just going to be a short video, I hope, on a thought that I had the other day. I was in Walmart, and there was a gentleman who was a little bit upset that he could not use cash at the self-service booths, registers. And he was asking the young lady that was tending the registers why not, and her stock answer, which I'm sure they've probably asked them to use this with people. I'm sorry, my hair is being weird. Um, but her stock answer was, well, there's a coin shortage, so we don't have coins stocked in the machines. It won't be able to give you your change. And so he kind of grumpily went on to the registry. He said, I don't know why there's a coin shortage. I took a whole bag of it to the bank today, and they wouldn't even count it for me. Well, that's because most of the banks right now, even though they've got those little machines behind the counter that can count the change, and everything like that, they would prefer you to have at least done some of the work to count your change out and organize it for them, so it's a little bit easier, because they have to go through and actually separate out the quarters, separate the dimes, separate the nickels, so that each thing can be weighed. Basically, it's put into a little cup and it's weighed, and you put in what denomination it is, and oh, well, if it's this many ounces and it's a quarter, then you've got this many quarters. That's how those little machines work. They're not like a Coinstar, okay? Which actually sort of is like a Coinstar, because the Coinstar has a device that separates out the coins and then weighs them individually. So, he's not understanding why they didn't want to take his coins unless he counted them out. Well, that's why. But at the same time, he was like, why would there be a coin shortage when there's so many people trying to use their extra change to make sure they have exact change, because everybody's pushing the exact change thing right now. And I have to admit that at first I thought, well, how could there possibly be a coin shortage? First of all, not that many people are spending money in the first place, and what they are spending, they're probably spending what they've got in their coin jar, and they're putting that back into the market and everything like that. But it dawned on me that we have a coin shortage because more coins are not being minted, more money, more cash is not being printed to cover the additional money that is being put onto the books by the Fed, by the Federal Reserve. So whenever the United States goes over budget, or some of these bigger government corporations, whatever they are, usually, since the United States and the Fed is the only one that can print money, the whenever we go over budget as a nation and Congress decides that they're going to approve that running over the budget, basically they're borrowing against next year's money coming in. They say they approve an additional 500 million for something, for some project. Maybe the project is something absolutely needed. Maybe it's needed for infrastructure somewhere or something like this. The Fed, at this point in time, does not actually go to the mint and say, print me off $500 million. They go to the books, which now are computerized, and they type in the asset column $500 million, and they attribute it to where it came from and everything like that. But the problem is they're not physically printing any more coins, any more cash to account for that extra money being in the books. So now we have money being spent, because it will trickle down. The 500 million goes to the program sends it out to whoever else needs it. Like in the entitlement programs, for instance, Let's take one we're familiar with food stamps a little bit. Say you get 500 million into the food stamp office for a state. Just saying, okay? So that 500 million gets divvied up, and a lot of it gets sent to individuals. Maybe it's in the form of food stamps, which of course are going to be spent in the store, or maybe it's in the form of cash for those that have children, that they need to be able to buy necessities for children, um, and but it doesn't get given out as cash. It gets given out on a card. So you've got it on the card, they spend it from the card, money's being spent, but it's not physically out in the world. Now, what if you've got something like the stimulus payments that we all recently received? If you had a check, of course you had to either deposit it into your bank or you had to cash it. If you cashed it, you got back actual physical money that you can exchange in exchange for something that was never printed when it began. So you get $500, say. You got that $500 in your hand. That $500 it was never printed specifically for you to have. So you're borrowing the physical assets. You've got that physical asset drawn from all the sources around. So when you go to get change, that's change that was never printed up to cover that either. So that's drawing from all the sources around. In the long run, it's going to spread out the supply of actual change and actual cash across the country, so that there may not actually be as much, especially like in the more populated areas, it may not have as much available for use. There's probably some weird fallacy in there somewhere. I'm willing to concede that. But it just dawned on me that might be one of the reasons why there is an actual change shortage. Plus, I have heard that there are a lot of people fearful that the economy could fail, and in order to have something physical to barter with or to buy with, trade with their neighbors, even if they can't go to the store, because if the economy fails, the store would shut down, right? So in order to still be able to barter or buy from neighbors, they still want to have that medium of change and cash available. And so I have heard of some people trying to save up all of their cash and change. If they've got money on a card, salary, whatever, they pay their bills and get the rest out in cash so that they can keep that cash on hand. I think there would probably still be a circulation of cash for a short while if our economy ever shut down, just because of this fact. However, of course, I'm hoping that the economy does not fail, because frankly, it's if it went out from under us right now, we would all economically come tumbling down like a house of cards. And I don't want my friends and my family to go through that. I don't want to go through that. If it's going to happen, now what I'd like to see happen, frankly, is if they are going to try to go to a cashless system, that they need to take us there slowly, for one. I mean, they have kind of over the years, they've gotten us used to doing credit cards and then debit cards and electronic transfers of money, using our phone apps, doing a lot of ordering of things online and having them delivered. These are all things that slowly work towards having a cashless economy. But rather than trying to shock the nation into it, or jolt us into it with things crashing down and then, oh, well, if it's going to survive, we have to do this. I think what they need to do is slowly move into we are going to require everybody to have, because of whatever reason, but to be honest about it, be open with it, and I think a lot of people would probably get on board, especially if there were no limitations put upon it. Because what we're hearing right now, right or wrong, from a lot of people is that there are certain politicians that want to make you having a card to do business with, having an account where you can be cashless, they want to make it so that you are required to have a vaccination for COVID, that you have the app on your phone that can track you, or that eventually even that you could have some sort of small tracking device on or in your body that would never be taken from you, could not be stolen, in other words, could not be hacked because it's yours specifically. They want to make that a requirement for you to even be able to buy and sell. Now, a lot of people that I have in my family and friend circle are, of course, Christian, and that whole buy and sell thing without a mark sets off red flags for all of us. In itself, being cashless is not an evil thing. However, it's the requirement of something like that people view as the evil thing. And that having a cashless society is a step towards developing that whole system. Didn't intend to get into that today. Just wanted to talk about the coin shortage, but anyway, I'm more satisfied with this video than the last 3 I've tried, so I'm going to post this one. And as always, I'm going to tell you to please be safe, be blessed, and please be ready for whatever might be coming down the road. Thanks. Love you all. Bye-bye.